Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about change the degree. We are going to discuss change the degree. It is one of the concepts of do as directed. It has three forms. How many forms? It has three forms. First one is positive, second one is comparative, and third one is superlative. Before going into this three form, let us understand what this degree is. What are these three forms? This degree is specially used for adjectives. This degree is specially used for adjectives. For example, let us say the adjectives that I have taken is good, long, small, and beautiful. Look at the three types that I have put. First is positive, comparative, and superlative. Good. When it is good in positive, it becomes better in comparative. When it is better in comparative, it becomes best in superlative. Same, vice versa. Long, longer, longest. Small, smaller, smallest. Beautiful, it cannot be beautifuler. So I have used more beautiful and most beautiful. While changing the degree, we need to understand this concept. These are known as adjectives. These are known as adjectives. While in a question, whatever has been given, you need to find out the adjective. When you find out the adjective, you need to find out whether it is positive, comparative, or superlative. How will we find out? We'll look into the example on the next particular concept, so it would be better for you to understand. Look at the example that I have made. Raju is as small as Ramesh. Raju is as small as Ramesh. So the thing is, how will you identify the question? Whether it is positive, whether it is comparative, or whether it is superlative. There are few things that you need to understand while identifying the particular sentence. How will you identify the sentence? First. Second, if the sentence is positive, you need to change into comparative. Please note down these things. It would be easy for you to understand change the degree. I'm repeating it again. If the sentence is positive, you need to change into comparative. If the sentence is comparative, you need to change into positive. If the sentence is superlative, I'm repeating it again. If the sentence is superlative, you need to change into positive and comparative. Note down this thing. And the fourth important most point. If in the sentence not, N-O-T, not is given, then you need to remove it. If in the sentence not is given, then you need to remove it. And if in the sentence not is not given, then you need to add it. Then you need to add it. Coming back to the topic again, how will you identify the sentence? If in the sentence as, if in the sentence as or so as is given, then the sentence is positive. Then the sentence is positive. You can identify even from the adjective. You can identify even from the adjective. For example, the adjective in this sentence is small. If it is small, then it would be smaller, smallest. So this becomes positive, this becomes comparative, and this becomes superlative. This is how you will identify the sentence. Now from the question, as you have identified that it is small, so the sentence is positive. So the sentence is positive. Now if the sentence is positive, we need to change into comparative. We need to change into comparative, and vice versa. If the sentence is comparative, we need to change into positive. We need to change into positive. So what would be the answer? Raju is as small as Ramesh. Wait a minute. Look at the answer. I'm repeating the question again. Raju is as small as Ramesh. As and small. This is how we have identified the question, that the sentence is positive. So if the sentence is positive, we need to change into comparative. So while changing into comparative, if in the sentence not is given, then we have to remove it. But in this question, not is not given. Not is not given. So we need to add it. So I have already added not. So what would be the answer? Ramesh is not smaller than Raju. Ramesh is not smaller than Raju. Smaller. Positive, comparative. Not is given, then we have to remove. Not is not given, then we have to add. Here in this sentence, not is not given, so we have added not. Small, smaller. And if we change into superlative, it would be smallest. This is positive, this is comparative, and this is superlative. I hope you have understood the concept. I'm repeating it again. Raju is as small as Ramesh. As, or you can identify from the adjective. So what is the adjective in the sentence? That is small. That is small. So if it is small, the answer would be smaller. So Raju is not smaller than, Ramesh is not smaller than Raju. I hope the concept is clear. Okay, few more examples. Example number 1 again. Mohini was as clever as Rohini. So how will you identify the sentence? As, and clever. Clever, cleverer, cleverest. So it is clever. So the sentence is positive. If the sentence is positive, we need to change into comparative. So how will we change? Rohini was not cleverer than Mohini. I'm repeating the answer again. Rohini was not cleverer than Mohini. There is one important small note that you need to take care. We have to remove as or so as. we need to remove as or so as that has been given in the question while changing the sentence from positive to comparative. While changing the sentence from positive to comparative. A small note that you need to take care. If not is given, then you have to remove it. If not is not given, then you need to add it. As simple as that. This is how we change a sentence from positive to comparative. Example number 2. Rahul is as strong as tiger. I'm repeating the question. Rahul is as strong as tiger. What would be the answer? Tiger is not stronger. Stronger. As is not stronger than Rahul. This is positive and this is comparative. Right? Understand? I hope the concept of change the degree from positive to comparative is clear. Now we are going to see the type 2, that is from comparative to positive. If this concept is clear, positive to comparative, it is just vice versa. The question would be this: Tiger is not stronger than Rahul. This sentence is comparative and then we need to change into positive. This sentence we need to change into positive. The same way how we are changing a sentence from positive to comparative, in the same manner we need to change a sentence from comparative to positive. As simple as that. I'll put few more examples so it would be clear. Okay, type number 2, that is changing the sentence from comparative to positive, right? It is vice versa. I'm repeating it again. Whatever we did from positive to comparative, the same we need to do from comparative to positive. Look at the example so it would be clear. Example number 1. Suresh is smarter than Ganesh. So how will you identify whether the sentence is comparative or positive? I have told you that is from the adjective. That is from the adjective. Smarter. this is how you can identify. So this sentence becomes comparative. This sentence becomes comparative. If the sentence is comparative, what is the rule in change the degree? That if the sentence is comparative, we need to change into positive. If the sentence is positive, we need to change into comparative, and if the sentence is comparative, we need to change into positive. So what would be the answer? Ganesh is not as smart as Suresh. I'm repeating the answer, try to understand. Ganesh is not as smart as Suresh. How we have changed from comparative to positive? What were the rules of positive? What was given in the question? As. Remember? As or so as. So that has been put, correct? And it is smarter. So if it is smarter in comparative, what would be in positive? It would be smart. Smart, smarter. That is what we used to do previously while changing from positive to comparative. Now we are changing from comparative to positive. So what is given in the question? Smarter is given. So that is comparative. So we will change into positive. So that would become smart. That will become smart. And what the other things were given in the question in positive? As. So we have put as. So that is again a part of positive sentence. Right? So the answer is Ganesh is not as smart as Suresh. In this question, not is not given. Not is not given. So we are adding not. Remember the rule? If not is given, then we have to remove it. If not is not given, then we have to add it. So look at the answer again. Ganesh is not as smart as Suresh. Comparative, positive. One more example. Boys were more important than girls. Boys were more important than girls. How will you identify? There was one concept. Beautiful. This is positive. So comparative would be more beautiful, and superlative would be most beautiful. Right? Positive, comparative and superlative. So how will you identify this sentence? Whether it is positive, comparative or superlative? More important. Right? More important. So what is the sentence? That is comparative. That is comparative. So if the sentence is comparative, we need to change into positive. Look at the answer. Girls were not as important as boys. As important. Not is not given in the question. So I have added. Right? So repeating the answer again. Girls were not as important as boys. As. Important, more important, most important. Beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. So here it is more beautiful. So if it is more beautiful, then the sentence is comparative. So if it is comparative, we need to change into positive. So more important, important. Correct? So the answer is girls were not as important as boys. One more example. Seema is not longer than Reena. Seema is not longer than Reena. Read the question again. In this sentence, not is given. In this sentence, not is given. So if not is given, then we have to remove it. So look at the answer. There is no not given in the answer. Reena is as long as Seema. As longer, long. So that is positive. This is comparative. Longer. So that becomes comparative. How can you identify the sentence? I am repeating it again. I am repeating it again. How can you identify the sentence? From the adjective. That is from the adjective, right? A longer is given. So if it is longer, we need to put it long, because comparative to positive. We are changing from comparative to positive. This is type number 2. What we did in type number 1, that was we are changing from positive to comparative. Now we are changing from comparative to positive. So look at the answer again. Reena is as long as Seema. This is how we change the degree. This is how we change the degree from comparative to positive and from positive to comparative. I hope the concept is clear. Moving towards type 3. Okay, third type. What is the third type? That is superlative. We have discussed two types earlier, that is positive to comparative and comparative to positive in change the degree. The third type is the superlative concept. Type 3 is again divided into two parts. Type 3 is again divided into two parts. Please make a note while the sentence is superlative. You need to be a little conscious while the sentence is superlative. Why? Because if the sentence is superlative, you need to change into positive and comparative. You need to change into positive and comparative. So if the sentence is superlative and while you are changing the sentence from superlative to positive, you need to start the sentence with no other. You need to start the sentence with no other. Please make a note. And if you are changing the sentence from superlative to comparative, right, then you need to add than any other. Please make a note of this. If the sentence is superlative and while you are changing the sentence from superlative to positive, right, you need to start the answer with no other. And if the sentence is superlative and you are making it into a comparative, you need to add than any other. Than any other. We'll look into the example so you will understand. First of all, how will you identify that it is divided into two parts? So when you read the question, it would be easy for you to understand that the sentence is superlative. How will you understand that the sentence is superlative? Greatest. So from greatest, great, greater and greatest. So if it is greatest, it is superlative. It is superlative. So in this question, greatest has been given. So it is easy for you to identify that the sentence is superlative. So if it is superlative, what you need to do? You need to change into positive and comparative. Before, in the previous concept, that is positive and comparative, if the sentence was positive, you need to change it to comparative. And if the sentence was comparative, you need to only change in positive. But here, if the sentence is superlative, you need to make the answer in both, in positive as well as comparative. Right? So in this question, you have understood greatest. So if it is greatest over here, so it is easy for you to understand that the sentence is superlative. But make an important note. If in the question the is given, if in the question the is given, that is the third type part 1. Third type part 1. I am repeating it again. If in the question the is given, that is the third type. Which is the third type? That is superlative. So that would be the first part. I have told again that type 3 is divided into two parts. So this is part number 1. How will you identify part number 1? If in the question the is given. So look at the example. Is the given anywhere? Yes. So this is the greatest. So if it is part 1, so you are changing into positive. So how will you start the answer? That is no other. So look at the answer. No other actor in Bollywood is as great as greatest, great, greatest, great, as. This is superlative and this is positive. Right? Read the answer again. No other actor in Bollywood is as great as. Greatest, greater and great. So if it is great, it is positive. If it is greater, it is comparative. And if it is greatest, it is superlative. It is superlative. So repeating the answer again, no other. No other. Right? No other actor in Bollywood is as great as Amitabh. This is how you change the sentence from superlative to positive. I hope the concept is clear. Repeating the answer again, no other actor in Bollywood is as great as Amitabh. How will you identify the sentence whether it is positive, comparative or superlative? That is from the adjective. What is the adjective? Greatest. So from greatest you can easily come to know that the sentence is superlative. So if the sentence is superlative, you are changing into positive and comparative. So if it is greatest, it would be great in positive, and in comparative it would be greater. So we need to change into positive right now. So how will you change into positive? By starting the answer with no other. So what is the answer? No other actor in Bollywood is as great as Amitabh. There are few minor changes that we are making. Please note down these concepts. Look at the same example again. As previously discussed, if the sentence is superlative, we need to change in both the concept, that is positive and comparative. We have seen the topic, that is superlative, changing the sentence into positive. Now the same concept with the same example, we are changing into comparative. We are changing into comparative. So if the sentence is comparative, what we need to add in the sentence from particular superlative to comparative? Than any other. So can you find than any other in the answer? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. See, than any other. Again, how will you identify the sentence that is superlative? Greatest. So this becomes a superlative. Greater. So this becomes comparative. Right? So look at the answer. Amitabh is greater. Greatest, greater, because we are changing into comparative. Amitabh is greater than any other actor in Bollywood. I'm repeating the answer. Amitabh is greater than any other actor in Bollywood. So this is a superlative question. We have changed into comparative. I hope the concept is clear. I'll make an answer also, so it would be easy for you to understand. See, this is how we have to write. If the sentence is superlative, we need to change into positive and comparative. So what is the comparative answer? Amitabh is greater than any other actor in Bollywood, and no other actor in Bollywood is as great as Amitabh. Right? You can see great, greater and greatest. Three concepts. Right? This is positive, this is comparative, and this is superlative. Right? Again, I am repeating, if the concept is superlative, we need to change the answer into positive and comparative. How will we change the answer into positive? By starting the sentence with no other. No other actor in Bollywood is as great as Amitabh. And if we are changing the superlative concept into comparative one, we need to add than any other. So what is the answer? Amitabh is greater than any other actor in Bollywood. This is known as change the degree. Three forms: positive, comparative and superlative. If the sentence is positive, you need to change into comparative. If the sentence is comparative, you need to change into positive. If the sentence is superlative, you need to change into positive and comparative. While changing a superlative sentence into positive, you need to add no other. And while changing the sentence from superlative to comparative, you need to add than any other. This is the example, so you can understand the whole concept of superlative. I hope the concept is clear. Okay. Second part, I have previously discussed that superlative concept is divided into two parts. Whatever that we have seen earlier, that was part 1. That was part 1. In part 1 there were two types. In part 1 there were two types, the and one of the. That was part 1, two types. This is part number 2. Again, superlative concept divided into two, positive and comparative. If we are changing the superlative into positive, we need to start the sentence with very few. And if we are changing the superlative concept into comparative, then we need to start, or we need to add than most other. Than most other. How will you identify the sentence? How will you identify the sentence if the sentence is superlative? If in the question one of the is given, I am repeating it again, if in the question one of the is given, so that would be the second part of the superlative concept. So in this question, one of the is given, one of the. Like, look at the example so you'll understand it in a better way. Rani is one of the greatest actresses in India. So how will you identify the superlative concept, whether it is the second part or the first part? By identifying one of the. If in the question one of the is given, that is the second part. Whatever we did in the first part was the and one of the. Here it is superlative, that is the second part, that is one of the. Right? So that becomes the second part. Again, how will you identify? I'll give you an easy trick to identify the question that is superlative, that is greatest. That is greatest. So that is greatest. Right? So that becomes superlative. So what would be positive? That would be great. What would be comparative? That would be greater. Greatest, great, greater. Right? So this is superlative. If the sentence is superlative, we need to change into positive and comparative. So the answer in the positive way, what we need to start the answer? Very few. So look at the answer. Very few actresses in India are as great as Rani. As the first concept that we did, the positive to comparative. As, right? So there is as again. So that sentence is positive. That sentence is positive. And look at the sentence that is comparative. Rani is greater. Greater. Which sentence it is? Comparative. So that would be greater. So Rani is greater than most other actresses in India. Right? Rani is greater than most other actresses in India. This is how we have to identify the second part. I am repeating it again. Superlative concept is divided into two parts. So this is the second part. The first part that we did previously, please make a difference in the superlative concept. Superlative concept is divided into second part. How will you identify the second part? If in the question one of the is given. If in the question one of the is given. If one of the is given, then it is the second part of superlative concept. And while if the sentence is superlative, you need to change into positive and comparative. So what you are going to use in positive? Very few. So it is very few. Right? Very few actresses in India are as great as Rani. And if the sentence is superlative, you need to change into comparative. Then what you are going to add? Then most other. Then most other. Then most other. Rani is greater than most other actresses in India. Superlative, positive and comparative. I hope the concept is clear. I am repeating the whole concept again. If the sentence is positive, you need to change into comparative. If the sentence is comparative, you need to change into positive. If the sentence is superlative, two types. Right? Positive and comparative. Superlative, positive and comparative. Please refer the first part that we discussed previously. This is part number 2. How will you identify? From the question. What would be given in the question? One of the. If it is one of the, that is the second part. That is the second part, right? So if it is the second part, again you need to change into positive and comparative. So this is the answer. Please make a note. I hope the concept is clear.